Hi everybody, and thanks for joining me today. So moved my frame over again. I finished up the fenced post, and I've been working into the peahen's tail. When I get her tail completed, I will be finished completely with that bird. Yeah, because after that it's just more fence below her and stuff, so that'll be exciting. And I did manage to pass 80%, which I didn't know if I would manage this month, but I went, yeah, I'm well past it now. Could even reach 81, who knows? It's funny, I thought since I started my job, I would get less stitching, but at least for this month, because I've been having bigger blocks of color, I have been able to make pretty comparable progress to previous months. So actually, let's take a look here. We've got, yeah, instead of a full-length piece, actually, I'm thinking I'm gonna do all of these with just one piece for now, and then I'm going to attach a longer one later. Oh my. I may not talk as much today. We had quite a lot of wildfire smoke the last few days, so my throat has been a bit irritated, unfortunately. It's better today, but pardon me, it has been not so good. Does not look like we're going to have much more hot weather either. For the rest of the month, I looked at the 14-day forecast, and yeah, it's all sort of right around where I like the temperature, which is around 22 degrees Celsius, which I think is 70-something Fahrenheit. I've looked it up, but I don't know. It never sticks in my brain, so. I am not starting at 0 today, as you can see. I'm almost 160 stitches in. So I'll probably put up a pretty impressive number, but I won't have done those all on camera. But as I said, it's been bigger blocks, as you can see from looking on the pattern here. There's not very many colors in the peahen's tail. Peacock's tail is a different story. But I will be working into the fence probably before the end of August. Oh, hang on a sec. I think I got a knot there. Yeah. Darn. Okay. Let's pull that out before we keep stitching. If it will come out. Come on. Ah, good. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. There we are. Yeah, some pops of bright pink here in amongst this darker burgundy red. Alrighty. Oh, there, I was highlighting as if I was going to rip stitches out rather than adding them. Yeah, I fortunately have not had to do much frogging, so that is always nice. Yeah, although I did blow it when I started this project, and I used the 01 instead of the white. Yeah, and I did the whole like 10,000 stitches in the upper left-hand corner before catching my mistake. I think the part that annoyed me the most about it was that I knew that was a mistake people were making, and I still made it. It's like when you tell someone, be careful, don't trip over that thing, and then you trip over the thing, right? I decided, rather than drive myself nuts ripping out that many stitches, I'm gonna use that piece of cloth for a smaller project and just cut off the part that I messed up. I will have to pick out probably a couple dozen stitches, but that's not a big deal. Definitely better than 10,000. Let's see how close I can cut it with this piece of thread. So anyway, the job is going good. They said I've pretty much got the hang of it now, but it has been tiring. I am not, pardon me, not used to working full days. I was working for a while at a different company also doing office work, but I did like a comparable number of hours, but I worked 4 days a week, mornings only. In this one, I work 2 full days and then a half day. And on those full days, I definitely feel it. It was funny, I had my husband put a frozen lasagna in the oven for the dinner on those days because he got home sooner than me. And I figured it would be good for 2 days. No. I burned so many calories at work that I was starving, and we ended up eating it in one night. Oh. So then I had to plan something else for the next day. I stocked up a bit on dumplings and pierogies and stuff like that. That's super easy. Yeah, if you hear some background noise, that's my husband. He's working in his tech room, which is below me. Alrighty. Alrighty, so gonna do a whole bunch of bottom legs of stitches here and then cross them on my way back up. As I said, with my big blocks of color, I've been having some days where I managed to get 600 stitches in a day, which is more than I usually do, so I certainly don't mind that. The There'll be a bit more confetti when I get into the scroll work that is kind of below the peahen there. There's kind of like a brass decorative bit on the fence there. But after that, we get into the big flowers there. Again, that is not a lot of confetti, so that part should also go by pretty quick. When I get into the peacock's tail again, then I think that'll slow me down. I will lose some time in September because I'll be dealing with my apple harvest again. We have 2 apple trees in our yard. One of them is dying, but it's still hanging on. 2/3 of it is gone. The trunk is rotted through and it blew over in a storm, so a bunch of it died off that way. It's old though. I'm pretty sure it's original to the house, so it's over 50 years old, and this breed of tree lives 30 to 50 years, so the fact that it's still producing is pretty impressive considering. Eventually, my husband wants to expand the garage, and it's right where the old apple tree is, so we had one year, 2020, it didn't produce any apples, and we thought maybe that was it, but I guess it was going through like a resting phase because the next year it came back again. So last year I got 40 liters of concentrate. So we water it down to about half and half when we actually drink it, but I can it concentrated so it takes up less shelf space. But the year before was wild. We got almost 90. Yeah, you can never be sure exactly how much you're going to get. It fluctuates from year to year. We'll see. We didn't have much heat this summer, so that might affect it. We also had a bit less sunlight because of the smoky conditions, so we'll have to see if that affects it as well. Just gonna take a look here. Okay, I'll deal with that later. I'm gonna have a few threads, I think, of this color. Yeah, and then I have a new apple tree that I planted in 2014. And it took a while, but is producing very nicely. It took it 7 years, I think. Yeah, because the year 2020, when I didn't get any from my old tree, and I still didn't get any from my new tree, but then the next year it started producing, and they were full-size apples too. I wasn't sure if they were going to start out as like the little crab apple size, but no, they were the full size of baseballs. This year they don't look like they're going to be quite as big. So we will see. Like I said, I don't know if the smoky conditions affected it or not. We didn't have a super freeze last winter because I found the years that we have a really good cold snap tends to produce more the next spring. So, but again, I don't know if that's correlation or causation, right? Because a lot of these things kind of go in cycles too, so. Alrighty. We took some with us to BC to share with family. So I think we have only 3 jars left now, because they should be used. Home canned foods is best to use them within a year since they don't have any preservatives, so. We give a lot of it away to friends and that. I mentioned my niece came by with her husband a while back, a couple weeks ago, so we gave them a box of juice. So I really like the big Ago boxes. They hold 5 jars, and the way with 5 jars it kind of wedges them all in there so they don't move around and they don't knock against each other and break. So generally when I go to give somebody juice, that's how much they get. All right. So the tail ends right about here. So that is where I'm going to make the cutoff for my stitching area. I'm gonna fill in the whole tail, and then I will work on the fence post below it after the tail is done. Of course, I won't finish that today, but I think I should probably make some pretty good progress on it because, like I said, it's not very confetti heavy. Oh, pardon me. This bright pink again. All right. I'm going to go back up to this navy for now. Actually, it looks like I will run out of thread when I run out of stitches. It's always nice when it lines up like that. So I did locate my son's Fitbit that he doesn't use, that we got as a bonus when we bought his vehicle last year. So I gave it a try. I did do more steps, not as many, because the day I tried it at work, we weren't very busy. So I'm going to try it again and see how many I get on a busy day. did get, even on a slow day, I got double the steps I normally get on a day off, so there was that. No wonder I was tired. Okay. So when I hit 246 and 900, I will have exactly 60,000 stitches left. So, woohoo! The end is in sight. Somebody in a group I'm in on Facebook said, how many stitches do you consider a big project? Most people said 350,000 or more. Okay, so I did those. Okay, and I think I consider anything sort of above 150 to be big, and I'd say anything above 350 I consider pretty massive. Although I know some of the supersized projects they have are close to 1 million or over even, which is that would qualify as huge in anyone's book, I think. Because someone was saying, what do you consider big? Do you consider big like size-wise, like dimensions, measurements, inches, or a number of stitches? I would say number of stitches, because of course a 30-inch wide project on 14 count is going to have fewer stitches than a 30-inch wide project on like 32 count, right? So I think the biggest one I saw was one on Cross Stitch Studio, which was like 1200 by 900, which is holy cow. It was a lovely pattern. It was this kind of gray wolves out in a wintry scene. It was beautiful, but that is a massive time commitment, that's for sure. I don't think I'd be able to stitch that on 14 count. I don't think they make fabric that big. So this line right about here is where I'm cutting it off, because that is where, if you look at the symbols, the colors change, because that is the bottom of the female bird's tail there. Need 779, and I almost grabbed 799. Those are not the same. Yeah. One is brown and the other is blue. Yeah, the female bird is smaller, but she still was across a fair amount of the pattern. All right, everyone, we are back. Neighbor's kiddo came by, his bike chain slipped off and he didn't know how to fix it, so. Anyways, back to stitching. Alrighty. So I was saying that I may be able to finish this pass by the end of this year. I won't be finishing the project. I was hoping at the beginning of the year that that might be possible, but yeah, especially with me taking a part-time job, that definitely won't be happening. But still hoping to be done by spring, maybe Easter of next year. So we will see. Alrighty. Okay, did that because I want to be able to do this bunch of purple all in one go. I have two decent length pieces here. I think, oops, this bottom one will run out or will tie off because I won't really need two attached anymore at this point. So I got an email from YouTube that they're expanding their auto dubbing to previously uploaded videos, not just new ones. So that will be nice, but they did say not every video is going to be able to. I like to think I talk at the same volume every time, but I guess sometimes it can't pick it up clearly enough. And generally, the stuff that's over an hour doesn't auto-translate. And the stuff that's under an hour usually does, but not guaranteed. I've had a couple of videos since that were under an hour that did not. So it's kind of hit or miss as to whether it does or not. I don't speak the other languages, so I can't vouch for how good the translation is because it's being done by a algorithm and not by a person, so there are things that don't translate well. I remember we were in French class, and I can't remember what the assignment was. I think it was to come up with a slogan or something. And so one group made it that they were, I think it was like race cars or something. And so they wanted to make the slogan, "We fly," but they accidentally chose the translation of fly as in the insect, not fly as in go really fast. So our teacher had a good laugh at that one. Yeah, we insect. Doesn't have quite the same impact. Yeah, you get sometimes, my son likes to see those funny translations online. People will make compilation videos of them. And there's, oh, what was it one had? There was a menu and it had cow something. There was one that it translated to chicken rude and unreasonable, which it meant to be jerk chicken. But jerk isn't a spice, but it translated jerk as in somebody who's not nice. So chicken rude and unreasonable. This is why you need somebody who's bilingual to do your last, who speaks both languages fluently to do a final proofreading. There was one that said that was fine shredded butt meat, and I think what they meant was rump roast, but yeah, again. It's one of those where it's technically correct, but not correct. A little bit of more colors here, but not much before I get back into those big blocks again. Oops, try that again. Or talking about translations, people who get tattoos in other languages. And there was someone who said she was really excited to show off her tattoo, which was in Chinese. And the actual Chinese-speaking person who saw it said, what do you want it to say? Or what is it supposed to say? And they said, beautiful woman. And they said, well, it's close. It says beautiful man. Whoops. Yeah, they're saying like someone could really troll you there. You think you're getting something funny tattooed, and instead they tattoo you with something that says like I smell like a goat or something. I have never been brave enough to get a tattoo, but if I did, I'd probably get something Star Trek. One of my husband's sisters got a Triforce tattoo on the inside of her wrist. She is a gamer like us, so I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, when I was looking for Christmas tree toppers, I ended up getting the Nintendo Star to go on top of my tree. And when I was looking, they also had Triforce ones from Legend of Zelda to go on the tree, which I thought was pretty cool, but the star seemed the most fitting, so. I showed a picture of it, and my sister said, I feel like I should hold it and run around your house really fast now. Yeah, pictures you can hear. Do, 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 do. Oops. Oh, well, that was interesting. Don't know quite how I managed that. All right. Okay. I love Pattern Keeper because I, at first glance, would have thought this stitch and that stitch were the same symbol, and they're not. Stitching on paper, I might have been fooled. And they're very different colors. That other one is a bright red, and this is a gray. So you do not want to be mixing those up. They're not even remotely the same. Actually, if I do those two first, I can do more of the pink in a row. Oh, no, that is incorrect. Yeah, I just realized from looking at my grid lines that I was in the wrong spot. I probably could have fudged it, but I'd rather get it correct the first try. Okay, this is still connected on one side, so I will do that one. Yeah, because I would have put it right here where that burgundy one is. That would have been wrong. Okay, I'm going to do this one now. Another very bright red. Oh goodness. These threads are there. Not wanting to come apart. So I may hit 81 by the end of the month. I think I have 4 more sessions after this one is done, if I have counted correctly. So I would say that's probably doable. Oh, what have I done here? There we go. I think this will be another month in a row I won't get any work done on Firefly. Unfortunately. This one just takes priority, so. Because I want to keep up on making content for you all. Job I took is expected to be temporary, so we will see, because they said we'll reassess. So it's the doctor's wife, so they have one employee who does a couple of days, and then the doctor's wife does it for the rest of the week, but she is going to be doing a mat leave for her daughter. Is having their grandbaby, so she's going to help her. So I will be taking over for her 2.5 days a week. For that time, and then we will see whether she wants to come back or whatever, but oh dear. But I've been kind of fortunate the last couple of jobs I had, I didn't even have to really search for. It was sort of, we're looking for someone. We know you've done office work. Are you interested? And I went, okay. Oops. So I did those. Pretty sure this thread is going to run out pretty soon. Yeah. Do those as well that are along that edge, but I'm gonna have to get a new thread. Still a ton of this color left. If I stitch to 359, I believe that'll be 200 stitches on camera, because 159 is where I started. Got some big blocks coming up pretty soon. That navy blue, you can see it's a fairly large section there. Set these aside for now. I'll just work up to this edge of this blue here for the moment. Work my way down and then come back up and work my way down again. So I've mentioned before, I kind of like to break up these huge blocks with some of the confetti. So I'll do sort of a bunch of this blue, do a couple of stitches of other colors, then a bunch of the blue again. Big blocks to break up the confetti, and confetti to break up the big blocks. This stitch down here looks a little funny. There we go. Okay, just got pulled out of place a little bit. I was a little worried I was going to have to rip and refix, but I think we're good. Or sometimes if I get like that, where the stitch didn't quite get in the right spot, it's left a bit of a gap, instead of ripping, I will just kind of stitch it again with the correct color. Cover up the gap. Blue is still trying to show up. So now I'll switch to color here that only has a few stitches. And then switch back to the navy. So, like I said, I don't get bored either way, and kind of puts breaks in there so I don't get carpal tunnel. And then back up to this navy for a bit, and so on. Oh my gosh. Ends are just being a real pain today. Keep showing up when I don't want them to. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, another one. There we are. I thought maybe this thread was fraying, but no, it's just the ends showing up again. Yeah, so I mentioned in previous videos about the Oreo cookie recreation I attempted. I tried it again, and I increased the sugar just a little bit. So by an extra quarter cup, it was perfect. Yeah. So I think I found just the right mix. I was really happy with them because I said I made them last time and they were good, but just a little bit too bitter for me. So I gave it another try and I think they are perfect now. So I'm going to make sure I make a copy of that recipe in case it disappears, because yeah, that's how things are on the internet. You never know. I would really hate to lose that after finding a recipe that worked, because like I said, in Canada you used to be able to buy the Oreo wafers without the filling, but they discontinued them and I was sad. I have a file typed up of all my favorite recipes, and I uploaded it to my cloud so that way I will have copies in case anything happened. And when my son does move out on his own, I will make sure that I email him a copy as well, so he will have all his favorites. Yeah, I was sad. My grandma had this recipe for cookies. She called them Copenhagens. They were so good, and she wouldn't give me the recipe. I was very sad, and now she's passed away, so I'll have to check them on my cousins if she shared it with any of them, but I don't think so. My dad was the same way. I asked for his recipe for steamed carrot pudding that you make at Christmas, and he wouldn't share it with me. So I went online and found one, and I tweaked it a bit until I got it right. But I've always said I think recipes should be for sharing. I mean, I understand if it's your family business and it's a proprietary thing, you can't, but other than that, I've shared some of mine, and even then people still ask me to make it when we have potluck or something. And I've given them the recipe and they'll say that, yeah, but it doesn't taste like yours. So maybe they don't want the hassle of making it themselves, but either way, that's flattering. Okay, so I have gone past 200 on camera with you all. So I think I am going to finish these and park it, and that will be where I take a break for today. So I may still be working on the tail the next time I stitch with you all, or I may not. We will see how far I get. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you here next time. Thanks, everyone.